Are we wasting money on trade shows? That's the question we always ask, whether it's management, marketing, sales. Why are we going to these shows? We go every single year. Well, trade shows can be a great opportunity or a massive waste of money. If you're spending $50,000, $100,000, or even $500,000 just because your competitors are there, or because you've always attended these shows, then you're just wasting your money. So why do companies attend trade shows in the first place? The goal should be clear. You should be there to generate leads, build relationships, or launch a new product. But too often, companies invest heavily in trade shows without a real strategy or clue. Before you even sign that trade show agreement, you need to define what success is going to look like. National trade shows today can easily cost north of $75,000, depending on how and where you exhibit. Between exhibit space, labor, booth design, traveling, staffing, promotions, it adds up pretty quick. And if you don't have a plan to maximize every dollar, that investment could be better spent elsewhere. To make a trade show worthwhile, you need a plan that covers 4 critical phases. The first, and arguably the most important, is trade show evaluation. Yet most companies ignore this. Before committing, ask yourself, what are the total costs? These include the booth space, the travel, lodging, shipping, labor, promotions. Next, who's going to be attending? Will your target audience be there? Are the decision makers going to be there? Who else is exhibiting? Are all your competitors there or none of your competitors there? It's important to understand the landscape of a trade show. Now, this could be a show you've done for years, so you have a really good sense for that. But you really need to evaluate who else is going to be exhibiting. Know who's going to be your neighbors. Know who's going to be at that show. Know who you're going to be competing against to get somebody's time. And that may not be a competitor, by the way. What show events will impact the time that people have to visit the booths? Are there event presentations, special events, off-site attractions that might pull attendees away from the actual exhibit floor? You're competing with all these different things going on, and you need to know what they are. You need to understand what the travel and lodging cost is. Prices can vary significantly, and last-minute bookings can just kill your budget. If the numbers don't add up or the audience isn't a fit, you should rethink your decision. So now let's talk about the planning phase. This includes the booth design and the messaging, the layout, the visuals, the engagement strategies. All this need to be on point. There's a lot that goes into a good booth design. And of course, we'll save that for another video because there's a lot there. Staffing and training is critical. Who's working the booth is critical. What are their specific responsibilities for the staff that work the booth? How will they engage with attendees? Do you have the right people there that have the right skill sets? You need to create specific call to actions. What actions do you want the visitors to take? Can you have product demos in the booth? Product demos can not only illustrate your product, but create engagement at the booth. How are you going to capture leads and schedule follow-ups? Pre-show marketing is part of the planning process as well. How will you promote your attendance at the show? How can you drive people to your booth? Again, it's one thing they go to the show, it's another thing getting them to come to your booth. You need to do email campaigns, social media, direct networking, special invitations, all play a part. It's always a great idea to schedule meetings in advance whenever possible with prospects or with clients that may be attending the show. So now it's showtime, right? Show's on. When the show starts, your team must be dialed in. There should be a show manager, someone who oversees the scheduling, manage the logistics, and troubleshoot issues. Your staff needs to engage with intent. Not every visitor is a lead. You need to train the staff to qualify prospects quickly. They need to capture leads effectively. Today, a stack of business cards isn't enough. In fact, you probably don't even take business cards today. You need to have a CRM in place or a digital system to track conversations and leads, but these still need to go into your CRM. Network beyond the booth. Attend key presentations, special events, VIP gatherings, where decision makers are. This is all critical. When your staff's working the show, it's not just at the booth. If it's a show that has multiple days, make sure you have a team meeting each day. Recap what went on that day, what worked, what didn't work, what needs to change. Discuss what you need to focus on day 2 and day 3 if there's a day 3. Make sure you have a goal each day, how many leads you want to get. All this is important and will make the difference between success and failure with the investment you make in a show. So now the show's over, right? That's it. Congratulations. Well, not really. Too many companies think the job is done when the show ends, but that's wrong. If you're not following up quickly and effectively, you're leaving money on the table. Here's what a great follow-up strategy may look like. Multiple tactics. First thing, you want to follow up within 48 hours. An automated email sequence that's set up with your CRM should go out within those 48 hours, just simply thanking folks for stopping by. You may want to have some other call to actions in that email. You may want to have a digital brochure. You may want to have a survey, or send that separately. Have another touch point. Go through your list and connect with them personally on LinkedIn. Thank them for stopping by. See if there's anything you can do for them. Connections on LinkedIn is a great follow-up for a trade show. We talked about a survey. Again, this is a great way to get some insight. It could be a 3-question survey. It could be a follow-up email, maybe a couple days after the first email. What's most important here is your salespeople need to follow up directly. After you have the automated follow-ups, they need to pick up the phone and call. This should not be an email, this should be a phone call, thanking them for stopping by and trying to schedule a meeting or what the next follow-up will be with that prospect. Again, this is for qualified leads. We're not talking about if you're just collecting business cards and you have another vendor there and all that stuff. This is not the role of salespeople. These leads need to be vetted in the qualified leads sent to the salespeople to make the phone calls. And again, this should all be taking place within the first week or two of the trade show. After that, you lose traction and it's really going to be meaningless. So it really needs to be done, all of these initiatives, within the first couple of weeks. And everything needs to be tracked in the CRM. Management should be able to go into that CRM and see where a lead started from the trade show all the way through the various touch points in the pipeline to when the salesperson's reached out to what the decision point is, whether it is a loss or a win, depending on how you define either one, and keep them alive in the pipeline. Your CRM is going to be your best friend when it comes to evaluating the value of a trade show, because ultimately it's going to show you if you're going to get business. And it may be 6 months, could be a year, could be a year and a half. But if you have a good CRM in place with a good pipeline, that's being tracked all along the way, so you're going to be able to figure out if the investment you made paid off. You always hear people say, well, we get 3 or 4 new clients, it's paid for the show. Yeah, well, you talk to them a year later, they don't know if they got 2 or 3 new clients. They got some new business, maybe from the show, maybe not. The CRM is really critical for the follow-up and evaluation of a show, both long and short term. If you're not planning your trade show to this level, you need to reconsider your investment. If you're a well-established company, if you've been doing the same show for years and haven't seen significant business from it, pull out. Spend that money somewhere else. Those dollars can be spent on other marketing initiatives that can drive new business. However, if you're getting the results, if you're getting leads and getting new business, whether you're an existing company that's been going to the show for years, or if it's the first year you've gone to that show, the key is to have that strategy in place and the ability to measure success. Here's the bottom line. Trade shows can be valuable, but only when you approach it strategically. If you're going to spend the money, we've already talked about how expensive shows can be, and you all know how expensive shows can be. Do it with intention and defined expectations. But don't waste your time or money if you don't get a return on your investment. Simple as that. If you'd like to learn more about how we work with our clients and some of the experiences we've had with trade shows, click on the Zoom link, schedule a meeting. I'd be happy to share with you kind of our approach when it comes to trade shows, our evaluation of trade shows. No commitment, just a short call. Be happy to talk to you and share with you our best practices. And by the way, leave a comment. If you have great success with trade shows, or if you can't stand going to trade shows, if they're a waste of money, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what your experiences are with trade shows.